First and foremost, what's your name and where are you from?
John Satara. I'm originally from Pennsylvania.
All right.
And we moved to Sarasota approximately 3 years ago.
Where were you when you heard about the 9/11 tragedy?
I was in Pennsylvania, Langhorne, Pennsylvania. My sister called me up and said, turn on the TV that a plane hit one of the Twin Towers. So I put the TV on and they kept replaying it, I think on one of the stations, and then a second plane hit and I couldn't believe it. I thought it was like animated or something like that. It was just something, you know, unheard of or never even thought of being real. And it just blew me away to actually know that it was real and to see something like that happen.
Powerful. How long did it take for you to respond when they were calling for volunteers, and did you go alone when you went?
Well, at first I didn't even think of responding. At first I was in like a state of shock. I didn't even know what was going on. And after some time of seeing it and, you know, realizing that it was not made up and it was real, I got on the phone and I made some phone calls. I talked to 2 different people, and I guess it was within maybe a couple hours before I was on the way up there with 2 friends, and you know, go to see at least documents, see what we could do. We didn't even we weren't sure exactly what we were getting into.
They're in New York City, what do you know?
What's up?
We're walking now down through Manhattan.
Okay.
We're heading away from the train station. Hopefully they all stay up that high.
Here I am, Doug, about to interview him. How you doing, Doug?
Geez, what's going on? We're just
Where are you at?
New York City. We're going to check out the disaster that has just happened.
Do you notice a difference of anything around here?
Tony looks nervous or something.
My name is Donald Eloya. I was an employee of New York Waterway at the time, the management level. The morning of 9/11, I was in my office. I was notified by Michael McPhillips that the World Trade Center was on fire. At that point, we didn't really know what had happened. Typically in those events, we expect that there's going to be some sort of evacuation in lower Manhattan. Nothing of the magnitude we experienced that day. So we left the building, jumped on boats, and we're heading downtown to the World Financial Center. As we were making our way downtown, the second plane hit the building. You can clearly see it from the bow of the boat. And when we got to the World Financial Center terminal, which is on the Hudson River, just west of the World Trade Center, it was really kind of complete chaos. People were fleeing the buildings, people were trying to get on boats and obviously get out of lower Manhattan. And then the first building fell, and I always have this recollection of it sounding like a waterfall. I was standing in the plaza at World Financial Center directly west of the building when it fell. And I can just remember watching it collapse on itself, and this vision of desks and computers and paper flying out of the building. You know, not really thinking about who might still be in that building. And then suddenly we were just covered in a dust cloud. And standing in the middle of this cloud, you can hear people yelling and screaming, and you know, we're trying to get them to the boats. And so we continued to load people on the boats, and now people were starting to panic. You can feel that, you know, the sense of urgency was elevating. In the meantime, we had crews that were on the other side of Manhattan and at the Battery, and we're trying to communicate with each other and coordinate this, what now has become a full-scale evacuation from what had been an orderly movement of people back to New Jersey who might live in New Jersey to an outright evacuation of Lower Manhattan. Shortly thereafter, the second building collapsed. And I can remember we held the boats off for fear that something might actually happen to the boats. And people started to really panic, screaming at us to get them on the boats. And I remember when that second building fell, you were trapped there at World Financial Center. There was no place to go. And you could just watch this cloud move up the Esplanade. And everybody was running to the north, trying to get away from the dust and the debris and everything that was coming down. And finally, at that point, we really didn't have access to our facility because it was completely engulfed in dust and debris. And we were lining the boats up along the bulkhead. And I can still I remember these women handing their kids off to deckhands so they could go back and try to find their husbands who worked in the buildings. I guess they lived downtown. And, telling these women that you can't just give us your kid. You got to get on the boat. The kid was 2, 3 years old. You got to go.